Okay, friends, we are going to start today with weaving our flap. So hopefully at this point you have gotten about half of your weaving board woven, all the way front and back. And we are about ready to weave the next part, which is the flap of our project. It really doesn't matter whether you do this on the front or on the back, the side with the tape. It really doesn't make any difference, but I'm just going to choose the front side because I like when the lines are a little bit straighter in my warp. All right, so to do your next step, to do the flap, you'll need another piece of yarn or continue the yarn that you have if it's still long. I am going to do it in a slightly different color just for visual purposes for this video, but you can do it in whatever color you want. You can keep the same color or the same pattern if you're doing a pattern, or you can change colors like I am doing. So the first thing that you'll do is you will attach your yarn if you are starting with a new piece. I just make a knot, and we will cut those little tails off later, and any tails that or any knots that are still there you will be flipping inside out, so you won't really get to see them. So I'm going to make that a nice tight knot. I'm going to put I have about 2 wingspans of yarn again, like I did before. So I am going to put my other end on my needle. And again, I'm using this really, really thick ply yarn for visual purposes, but you are using whatever yarn that you've been weaving your pouch with. Okay, so I like to weave from the top to the bottom, but if you like to weave from the bottom to the top, just leave it upside down like that. All right, so now I just finished on the back side, so now I'm weaving on the front side. So I will weave my normal row just as I did before, except when I get to the end of the row this time, I pull my yarn through like so, and it is a little tricky with these little knots sometimes. I pull my yarn through, and then instead of flipping my board over, I am now going to just go backwards on the front. I'm not flipping my board anymore because now I'm making the flap. So I got to the end, I went over the last string. So now I'm going to go under it and go backwards, doing the opposite of what I did on the row above it. So I'm going under, over, under, over, under, over, and with an under, I pull my yarn. This is a really, really important thing to pay attention to right now. You pull your yarn, but you don't want to pull it too tight like this. Do you see how my warp string, my white string that's going up and down, is bent? You want to do your best not to bend that yarn. So sometimes when I pull it too hard, I just kind of pull it back a little bit with my finger before I push it up. And then instead of flipping my board again, I'm just going to go backwards. So I ended with an under. So now I'm going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, all the way across till I get to the end. I pull my yarn. I don't want to pull it too tight. If I accidentally do like I just did, I'm going to just pull it back a little bit so that my white string's not bent or whatever color you used. And then I push them up tight, and then I go backwards again. Excuse me. Okay, so I ended with an over, so now I'm going to go under. Try to keep them organized. And I'm going under, over, under, over, under, over, all the way to the end of the row. Pull my yarn and pull, pull, pull. Try not to pull it too tight. Push them up together. And then I'm ready to keep going back and forth. So I'll do another row or 2 on this video, and then I'm sure you have what you need to get moving on your own weaving board. So I pulled it a little bit, so back it up a little bit, tuck them close together, and then turn around and go backwards to keep weaving. And you notice I'm not flipping my board anymore. I'm only weaving on one side of my board before I pull my string through and start my next row. So I'm going to keep doing that until I get about to the bottom of my board, and it goes much faster because I'm not flipping my board. And when you get to about the bottom of your board, or just a little bit short of the bottom of your board, you're going to stop weaving, and I'm going to teach you how to take your weaving off your board, because you will then be finished with your pouch. So I am going to stop this video. You're going to weave your pouches and weave your flaps, and then look for another video here very shortly that I will be posting to show you how to take your weaving off of your board. And then you'll send a picture to me, and you are all done with your weaving pouch. And that board will be yours to keep, and you can just weave away whenever you want to. So until next video, keep weaving that flap. And try not to pull that end in. That's called draw in. You don't want to draw your end strings in because it just makes your flap look a little yucky. And just keep on going. So weave away. Check back for the next video. Thanks, my friends.